everyone, welcome to my channel and thank you for taking the time to watch this video. This is another episode in my deck walkthrough series. I hope you have been watching all the previous deck walkthroughs that I've been doing and I hope you have been enjoying them. Today I'm presenting a themed tarot deck which is the Sherlock Holmes Tarot, and it is a deck that is being done by John Matthews and Wil Kingham. And if you know anything about Sherlock Holmes and like all the books that were written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, you will definitely enjoy this particular deck. It is very, very non-standard. It is nothing like the Rider-Waite Smith deck, but the deck itself is very beautiful and it is very self-explanatory, and it gives your tarot readings a whole new dimension as well, and you learn quite a bit from this particular deck. So it is a 79 card deck. It's got an extra card which is the wild card. I'll show you that and talk about that when we look at the cards themselves. And like I said, it is a deck that has been inspired by the works of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes series. And it's got a lot of that those qualities of investigation and looking at information in the deck itself. It's a very, very beautiful, very, very informative deck. It comes in this really lovely box, so if you're thinking of giving somebody a gift, this would be a perfect gift to give to them. And the box itself is really beautifully done. It's got the picture of Sherlock Holmes on the front with his magnifying glass, and Dr. Watson in the background over there, and it looks like a book really. It's almost packaged as though it were a book. It tells you about the deck on the back of the box itself, and this was a deck that was produced in 2004, and it has got a lot of Victorian imagery that goes through the deck itself. And like I said, it's not at all like the Rider-Waite Smith deck. This is a completely new take on the tarot deck itself. So it comes with a nice book, a nice thick book, and you are going to need this book, I must say, because everything about the deck is in the book itself, and how to read the book, how to read the deck as well with it. It's a nice thick book as well, so this is not one that you can put in your pocket or in your purse. It's going to take some time to read it. It's got a really nice finish to it, so it's got a very old-fashioned kind of look to it. And a table of contents over here going through the major arcana, and the minor arcana, and the art of investigation as well. So something really different, something very, very unique as well. And it tells you a lot about the wisdom of the tarot itself and how to actually read it. Now it uses a lot of Sherlock Holmes imagery in it, and talks about Sherlock Holmes and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, gives you a history about him and about the adventures and how the books were written itself. So if you're somebody who likes that kind of thing, then this is the deck for you, definitely. So going into the tarot itself, it tells you about the deck itself and how these cards have been laid out. So it gives you a little bit about the different cards. So you start off with the major arcana cards over here. Now they deviate. He's given the major arcana cards different names. The Fool card has been given the Inspector Lestrade name. The Magician is known as the Great Detective, and so on. I'll show you that in the cards as I go through the cards. Also, the names of the suits have been changed as well. So you've got, for swords, you've got observation, and you've got an eye there. You've got evidence for the wands cards, and you've got a footprint there. Analysis is with the cups, and you've got a magnifying glass there, and deduction is the pentacles, and there's a question mark over there. The court cards are also different. You've got the Baker Street irregulars representing the pages, the peeler or the policeman representing the knights. The lady is the queens of the court cards, and the inspectors are the kings of the court cards. So quite different layout of the cards themselves. And then the actual book itself is also laid out in a very unique fashion as well. Like I said, there is that wild card which is called the Great Rat of Sumatra, and that is the 79th card as well. It's like anything can happen card as well. So it's very, very handy within the deck itself. The actual way the book is laid out, it presents each card, and then it calls it the game, which tells you about the card itself, and then the fog tells you about the reverse meanings of the card. So the game is what you should be looking for as an interpretation of the card, and the fog tells you about what the reverse meaning of the card is. So this is a deck that can be you can use this deck with reversed meanings, and it's got different meanings in the reversal as well. So looking at the Fool card over here, you've got a bit about the Fool, and it tells you about why it's called Inspector Lestrade. It tells you about what the meaning of the card is, and that's under the title of the game. And then it tells you what the reverse meaning is, which is the Fog. And what's very interesting is that it gives you a little key at the top over there, which gives you a quick interpretation of the card, and a little bit of wisdom about the card, what you can take from just looking at the card. So it does that for all the major arcanas in that kind of way. So it's going to take some reading, I must admit, but it's very, very informative and very, very different from what you might be used to in the rider-waite Smith decks itself. So it goes through all the major arcana cards over there, and then you've got the minor arcana, which is laid out in the same sort of way, and it starts off with that the aces over there, which tells you about the card. Then you've got the game, the fog, whatever the key is. So these are quick meanings, and a little bit of wisdom over there. So that takes you right through all the major and minor arcana cards itself. And towards the end of the book itself, it gives you a good rundown, a little good of the spreads that you can possibly use with this particular deck. So it's got the inquiry spread over here, and it's got even facts that you can look at. So you're looking at these two spreads over here that it brings out, that you can actually use with these particular cards, and it gives you some sample spreads over there as well, and there's some place at the back to actually write down any notes that you want to write down. So quite an informative book, and one that you will need to look through and read through in order for you to learn of what the cards are. They are very different from the rider-waite decks, so this is definitely a must for you to read as well. Now I'm going to show you the cards, and they're very, very beautifully done. They've got a really nice antique gold finish to them. So they come in they come packaged in this box, and they've got little alcoves, if you like, to actually keep your cards in. The card stock itself is pretty good. The surface is not very shiny, so easy to shuffle, and the size of the cards about 7.5 centimeters by 12 centimeters. Those are the dimensions. On the back of it, it's got 221B, which is the address of Sherlock Holmes, and that's sitting on the back, and you can see it's reversible as well. So let's go through the cards themselves, and it's got them in reverse here. So let me start off with the first card. This is the major arcana cards. So you've got Inspector Lestrade, that's being the Fool card over there. Like I said, you have to look at the cards to see, what the meanings are of it and why it is significant that they've used that. Now, Inspector Lestrade was one of the policemen or the investigators in the Sherlock Holmes series, so you can see him starting his case or his investigation there and looking at all that evidence. And this is the Fool card. Then you've got the Great Detective, and this is the Magician card. It's got, somewhat similar to the rider-waite Smith Magician, with all the tools needed to start this investigation over there. He's got his magnifying glass, he's got his books over there, and that famous pipe as well going through that particular card. Then you've got Irene Alder, which is the High Priestess card, and the Queen, which is the Empress. You've got the Prince Consort, which is the Emperor. The 7% Solution, which is the Hierophant. Then you've got Mr. and Mrs. J.H. Watson, which are the Lovers. You've got the Hansom Cab, which is the Chariot card. and Dr. John H. Watson, which is the Strength card. You've got Mycroft Holmes, which is the Hermit. This was the brother of Sherlock Holmes, and he was a very knowledgeable man. And you've got Bradshaw's Directory, and this is the Wheel of Fortune card over here. So everything you ever needed to know in that Bradshaw's book there as the Wheel of Fortune. You've got the Courts of Justice as the Justice card. The Crooked Man is the Hanged Man, number 12. The Gallows is the Death card. And you've got Mrs. Hudson, who was the housekeeper. You can see 221B on the door over there. And this is Temperance. She sorted everything out and kept everything, balanced. Then you've got Professor Moriarty, and this is the Devil card. You've got Reichenbach Falls, and this is the Tower. And the Blue Carbuncle, this is the Star. The Hound of the Baskervilles, this is the Moon card. And the Magnifying Glass, this is the Sun card. Discovering the truth and secrets and clarity coming in. So you've got the Final Problem. This is the final Judgment, or the Judgment card here. And the London Times is the World card. So those are the major Arcana cards. The cards themselves are titled on the top, and they've got the number in normal Arabic numerals over there. So it's all numbered there. Now this is the Minor Arcana. So looking back at this particular what it means as far as the legend goes of what the symbols are, because they do deviate from the rider-waite deck, and you're looking at just find it. The legend that says the observation cards is the eye, and that is the swords cards. The wands cards is the footprint, and the cups cards, the magnifying glass, the pentacles cards are the question mark cards over here. So we're looking here at the cups cards, which is the analysis cards, and this is the Ace of Cups. This is the Two of Cups. The Three of Cups. The Four of Cups, the Five of Cups, the Six of Cups, the Seven of Cups, the Eight of Cups, the Nine of Cups, the 10 of Cups. And then we've got the Page of Cups over here, the Baker Street Irregulars. This is the Knight of Cups, which is the Peeler card. So it's important, this is a deck where you have to read that picture very, very carefully. You've got the Queen of Cups, which is the Lady. And you've got the Inspector, which is the King of Cups. So that's the cup suit. And then we've got the Wands, which is the evidence suit. So this is the Ace of Wands, the Two of Wands, the Three of Wands, the Four of Wands, the Five of Wands, the Six of Wands, the Seven of Wands, the Eight of Wands, the Nine of Wands, and the 10 of Wands. Then this is the Page of Wands, the Knight of Wands, the Lady is the Queen of Wands, and the Inspector is the King of Wands here. Then you've got the Ace of Pentacles over here, the 2 of Pentacles, the 3 of Pentacles, the 4 of Pentacles, the 5 of Pentacles, the 6 of Pentacles, the 7 of Pentacles, the 8 of Pentacles, the 9 of Pentacles, and the 10 of Pentacles. Then this would be the Page of Pentacles, the Knight of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles. And then finally, this is the sword suit over here. So you've got that eye at the top over there, and it's got the whatever the card is on the top. So this is the Ace of Swords, the 2 of Swords, the 3 of Swords, the 4 of Swords, the 5 of Swords, the 6 of Swords, the 7 of Swords, the 8 of Swords, the 9 of Swords, the 10 of Swords. And then you've got the Page of Swords over here, the Knight of Swords, the Queen of Swords, and the King of Swords. And finally, the Great Rat of Sumatra, or the Giant Rat of Sumatra rather. This is the wild card that comes in here, and they do tell you how to actually use this particular card within the deck. So it's got some really interesting imagery that runs right through it. It's very Victorian and very, very different, but a lot of really interesting messages on each and every card. And I would suggest you really reading that book very, very carefully, and it's a very, very easy to read book, very, very informative. It's all very, very well laid out, and it gives you a really good history of everything over here. I mean, in the Empress card, they're actually telling you about Queen Victoria and why it is called, the Empress is called the Queen in this particular deck. So something that is going to be very interesting, very, very different, and very, very exciting to use this particular deck, and I'm sure you will enjoy it quite a bit. Now I will be putting the links to it, to Amazon and eBay, where you can actually buy this particular deck if you're interested in it. And if you like Sherlock Holmes, I'm sure you can't give this, you will have to get this deck, you can't give it a miss. I certainly enjoy it, and I've actually enjoyed reading through it, so it's very, very interesting, and you know, it'll give the rest of your tarot readings quite a different take as well when you use different decks as well. So something completely different from the normal run-of-the-mill rider-waite decks, but something that even is very much an eye-opener into reading the tarot. So I hope you enjoyed this deck, and thank you so much for watching, and take care now. Goodbye.